Welcome, everybody. This is Ray of RebelEars.com. Want to say thank you for all my subscribers. Thank you for everybody who's listening to the podcast for bi-weekly insights with the podcast. So, of course, it's been a couple of months, well, a few months with the coronavirus, COVID-19, and I know for a fact a lot of people been focusing on their craft, focusing more on working from home. A lot of people have been streaming. A lot of people have been doing new things, learning new courses. But there's also people who've been procrastinating. So I don't know exactly if that's you or even me, as a matter of fact, because I do know for a fact that since COVID-19, a lot of people didn't know exactly how they was going to survive day by day. I do believe you need to focus on, of course, providing. If you're a family man, provide for your family. If you're a mother, provide for your children. If you're in a relationship, provide for one another. If you're single, survive on your own. But the thing is, what are you doing in that time period? Are you just focusing, making sure that you just either live paycheck to paycheck, put money to the side? Are you learning something new daily? Or are you taking the time to learn something new on a weekly or bi-weekly basis? Because my partner, YL, and I, we go through different courses every other week. Of course, we go through a lot of seminars, webinars, dealing with audio engineering, internet marketing, email marketing, social media marketing. So it's a lot when it comes to that aspect, especially if you're trying to, focus on making this long term. So let's say, because I deal with the music industry as an audio engineer, I want to provide value for different producers, of course, engineers, even artists, because I know a lot of talented artists who are also talented engineers, who are also producers too. There's some people who are jack of all trades. Some engineers just stick with mixing. Some engineers I know who are also producers. That's why they have high quality production. But a lot of people always try to get what's the quickest way to get better mixing or better drums? The first thing I tell them when it starts with, as an audio engineer, in my opinion, when you want good mixes, it starts with the recording. So it always starts with the vocals. And that's why I tell people, before you send me your session, well, I tell them to send me the session. I listen to it because I want to hear the quality of how their mic placement, because I could tell sometimes mic placements by just hearing them on the track. I could tell if it's too low and, they're not getting a lot of airway through their vocal cords, or if, the mic is a little high up, tilted downward so they can tilt their heads up, extending the airway. So there's different things that I do know that I experienced. But when it comes to, getting quality mixes, focus on the recording. Make sure that you have a pop filter, something covering the mic, making sure there's no spit, but also control plosives, Ps. And then you also want to go ahead and think on the lines of, where are you recording? Are you recording in the corner? Are you recording in your room, bathroom, closet? I know there's an artist, a band, who record the vocals in the car because the limitation of him living at his parents' house. So there's ways of getting high quality recordings, but of course you got to focus on mic placements. I do recommend a pop filter. Depending on your budget, on what kind of mic you want to get, that's a big thing. The right mic stand. Are you going to use a podcast stand? Are you going to use a stand that stands up? Or are you going to have one that is, some studios, they have the mic stand coming from the ceiling. So, there's different aspects when it comes to mic placements, where you're going to put your mic stand, where you're going to record. Are you going to have a Vox guard? So a Vox guard is basically what you put right behind the microphone to make sure it doesn't catch the reverb behind the mic, even though it is a condenser mic. And when it comes to the polar pattern, it's not omnidirectional. It's not taking sound from all directions, basically a cardioid mic. And it's, everything towards my way, because I'm using, right now while I'm recording this episode, I'm using my Neumann TLM 102. And I've been using this mic for 4 or 5 years now, ever since going to SAE for audio engineering. I've been really learning on the aspects of getting good quality recording. Like right now, you can hear that, different things are going on. Like I can tell you automatically I have my own template when it comes to my podcast interview, so I get a good recording so it's not hard for me to mix. I even have a template when it comes to the mixing too. So just to break down exactly what's going on here, I have my Neumann microphone going through my Apollo Twin. And in the Apollo Twin, I have a setup with the plugins. We're going to go ahead and talk about my vocal chain. Now, a vocal chain is basically what you have when you're recording. Some effects you want to add if you don't want it dry, if you want to add some space, reverb, even delay. I stick with basic EQ and compression. So right now my input is the SSL E channel, put a little compression, add a little highs, so I have a little presence. And then when it comes to the insert, I have the TubeTech CL1B. So my EQ and compressor, SSL E channel, and then I have a compressor, which is the TubeTech CL1B. Now I have a few favorite compressor. So the TubeTech CL1B, the reason why I like that compressor so much, because the first time I actually used it was when I was at Castle Hill Studios interning with Max Unruh and Dan Cohen, rest in peace Dan. Those were both the owners of Castle Hill Studios, and going there I was using a lot of outboard gear from API to the Manley, SSL, Avalon, TubeTech CL1B. You know, it's good to be able to have access to like top quality equipment without having to spend the money on it by providing your time, because in life, you know, you either value time or money. You can be in the middle. It's good to balance it out. So like with me at Castle Hill Studios, I traded my time to learn how to use the equipment there. They weren't paying me, so for me to get value from the studio, I booked sessions, got in touch with them if there was something serious in the studio. I was always setting up the equipment, cleaning up the studio, closing up. So it was a lot of things that I was doing at Castle Hill Studio that made me a better recording and mixing engineer. So when you're recording, you know, focus on your vocal chain, mic placement, mic stand, pop filter, good quality microphone, good quality interface, and go from there. So it'll get easier for you to mix. So when it comes to the mix, like I told you, I have a template when it comes to recording, the vocal chain that I have in my Apollo, and then my template when it comes to mixing the podcast. Basically, I normally don't have anything on the tracks itself. In my opinion, I learned this from Steve. He told me, you know, you want to limit the plugins you put on your track and put it on the aux or the bus. The reason for that, because you have more control of the natural sound of the vocals while putting the effects on the aux itself. So you can turn up a little more or a little. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Less from the aux. So basically I'll probably have like, it could get crazy as 3 to 4 compressors, 2 to 3 EQs, a summoning plugin, and that's just for the podcast itself. I actually can limit it to 2 compressors, 2 EQs, or 1 compressor, 1 EQ. But I learned this method from Steve, and it actually makes it easy to the point like I just do a few tweakings, turn some levels up and down, and now I have an episode for the podcast. And all I have to do is get it mastered, and then from there, I upload it to anchor.fm, and you know, you get this episode. And I take pride in knowing exactly what I'm doing. There's a lot I learned during COVID-19. Before COVID-19, I started the podcast last year. So I wrapped up a few episodes, had a lot of subscribers, had a lot of insights with other people, getting in depth with, my background, what's my interest, what I'm trying to get to, what I'm doing. So, of course, like I said, better mixing, better recording. Now, when it comes to production, that's on a different aspect. So what I would do as a producer, I would take time to listen to different producers in your genre. So let's say you're making a trap beat, you probably would be looking up Mike Will, DJ Mustard, Murder Beats. It's a lot of different producers out there. Even when it comes to mixing wise, if you're looking at engineers, there's different kinds. Like when it comes to Latin trap, Jason Joshua. When you're thinking like pop, probably Manny Marroquin or Tony Maserati. When you're thinking of like real hardcore rock, punk, you might want to look up like Chris Lord Alge. And, there's a lot of different engineers out there, from Young Guru, Greg Wells, Dave Pensado, Steve Hibicki, Seth Firkins. There's a lot of engineers out there. And, it's just good to take time to understand the craft that you're trying to build on by learning from people of the past or the people who's here today. So production, of course, when it comes to production, I have a template. I got two different kinds of templates, from 2 tracks and track outs. So when it comes to the 2-track, of course, it's just the MP3 version of the track itself. Everything is just compressed like one track. Track outs, basically each individual, kick, drum, snare, hi-hat, instruments, piano, synth, anything that you can think of. And then you have your track outs. If you're a producer, I think you should split everything. So you have your drums on the drum aux, all your instruments on the instrument aux, and then have your drum and instrument aux going to a separate aux. And I would call this all pro or PROD. So this is production aux. And then, I have 2 more aux. Well, no, I got from the production aux that have the drums and instruments. The production aux goes to a sub-master, and the sub-master to the master. That's basically how my setup is when it comes to my template, because I know there's some people who don't even have a sub-master. They just go straight from, like, if they have instrument, drums, production, straight to the master. Don't even have a sub-master. There's some who don't even have a production aux. They'll just do drum aux, instrument aux, straight to the master. So there's different ways of mixing. You should never limit yourself. Find one that you're comfortable with. And when you're comfortable with it, try to master that craft using different plugins you're not familiar with. Use a guitar plugin on the drums, use a drum plugin on the vocals. See what you can create, because, music is taking, chances. The way you take chances is by learning. Push record and just, give it a go. See how, it can help you out, especially when it comes to mixing. And during COVID, that's what I've been doing. I've been focusing more on my mixing, been focusing more on rebelears.com. YL and I have been making a lot of preset packs, sample packs, templates, ebooks. Like, we got a list of things we got down the line that we don't want to open it up yet. The best way for you to get involved with future products and future insights is subscribing to rebelears.com. You'll get a free ebook, 10 quick tips to be a successful audio engineer. Now, all of these tips are what I learned from going to school for audio engineering, interning at Castle Hill Studios, building over 100 stages between 2016 and 17, being an assistant engineer for Steve Hibicki, to having my own home studio. This is like years in the making. This is nothing that I'm just talking that I don't have experience in. I've been in sessions with a lot of top artists. I actually worked on records with a lot of top artists. So this is my way of showing people insight for those who want to know how to take the next step, either get into the music industry or working from home, or if they want to get in the aspect of building stages or even owning their own studio or working at a studio. There's so many different aspects that I feel like this is the best time to sit down with a pen and paper, write down exactly what you want to do, especially during this pandemic, and seeing exactly where it can lead you to. Because, like I was telling you, during COVID, I've been doing a lot of research, but I also been taking a lot of notes. So right now, I have this notepad. I write in it daily. I got a lot of lists of stuff dealing with Rebel Ears. So a lot dealing with stickers, IG Live, even when it comes to my partner and I's budget for Rebel Ears, so we can provide more content, more blogs, podcasts, presets, templates, ebooks, like all the stuff that I listed. Of course, it's a self-investment, but it's for y'all. We try to give y'all value on things that you might know, might not know. If you have a question, go ahead and, send me a message. Contact us on rebelears.com. Hit us up on social media. So on Instagram, we have a few accounts, but we're going to give you our main one. So mine is rebelears.ray, rebelears.rai, and YL is rebelears.yl. And if you want to get with us on Twitter, it is Rebel Ears, rebelears. And, like I said, we're going to be posting content weekly. So you're either going to get a blog, you're either going to get a podcast. You can get daily posts on our other IG at rebelears.post, rebelears.post. These are daily motivational, entrepreneurial, inspirational quotes, basically helping you day by day, because sometimes you do need that reassurance on what you're doing. Everybody want to be, accepted, want to be told they're doing a great job, and a lot of people don't get acknowledged. So you got to do self-acknowledgement. I believe in that. So, of course, check out the IG, look at the post. Hopefully it can help you with whatever you're going through today to pick you up or uplift you or keep you on the same path you've been on. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody who's listening to the podcast. Like I said, get in touch with me on IG, on Twitter, rebelears.com. We have so many ways to interact with y'all because we do have value for the people who's listening. Just want to say thank you from YL and I from Rebel Ears. Thank you, and keep